If you took a human brain and mapped out every single electrical impulse, like every firing neuron, you still wouldn't find a single trace of joy. Or, nostalgia or the color red.
Right, none of it.
For 400 years, science has faced this impossible magic trick, basically. How does wet biological hardware actually create the rich, subjective experience of being you? So, welcome to this custom deep dive. Today we're exploring Lukács-Meyerso's MIMO framework to see if it finally cracks David Chalmers' famous hard problem of consciousness.
It really is the ultimate question.
Okay, let's unpack this. The question for you listening is, are we just fleshy input-output machines, or is there a fundamental piece missing from how we understand human existence?
Yeah, and historically there's been this massive wall between materialistic science and philosophy. I mean, science can perfectly map the visual cortex reacting to a sunset.
Oh, sure.
But it can't locate the actual feeling of awe you get while watching it. The sources call this the epistemic gap. And the assumption has always been that we just need, better tools, more powerful MRIs.
Like we just aren't looking closely enough.
Exactly. But this gap isn't a failure of observation. It's a failure of our foundational concepts.
Which totally makes sense, because if we've mapped the brain to this crazy degree and still can't find where subjective experience lives, well, the blueprint we're using must be wrong.
Yeah, the framework itself is the issue.
Right, and the source points out a major critique of the old dyadic model. Basically, the assumption that there are only two domains, the physical brain and the cognitive processes happening inside it. If those two aren't enough, what are we missing?
Well, if you only have the physical domain, so neurons firing, and the cognitive domain, which is data processing, you still just have a biological calculator.
Oh, okay.
A calculator processes data, but it doesn't actually experience the math, right? That's why the dyadic model structurally fails. It completely leaves out the entity actually having the experience.
So if physical hardware and cognitive software aren't enough to make a person, what completes the picture?
This is where Meyerso's multi-input, multi-process, multi-output framework comes in. Or MIMO for short.
MIMO, right.
It shifts us from that limited two-part model into a triadic system by adding a third critical layer. It's called the intrinsical domain, referred to as R3.
Okay, let me see if I have this straight. So if domain 1, or R1, is the biological hardware using space, time, event, and motion law, and domain 2, R2, is the cognitive software running logic, then domain 3, R3, is the actual user experiencing it.
Precisely. It is the domain of pure subjectivity, the actual locus of meaning.
But wait, I'm getting stuck on this R3 idea. Isn't R3 just an output generated by the first two? Like, my brain runs the hardware and software, and then eventually a conscious user pops out.
That's the standard assumption, yeah. But that's exactly what MIMO challenges.
Okay.
In this framework, R3 is not a downstream output.
Wait, really? It's not?
No, it relies on a Consciology concept called co-emergence. The intrinsical domain operates inherently and simultaneously right alongside the physical and cognitive processes.
So it's not a chain reaction where, like, step A causes step B, which causes step C.
No, think of a musical chord. The notes don't create each other sequentially. They have to happen at the exact same time to create a harmonious sound.
Oh, wow. I love that.
R3 is structurally integrated from the very start. Without this co-emergent third domain acting simultaneously, we'd just be empty signal processors, taking in data and spitting out reactions with absolutely zero inner life.
So consciousness isn't some magical wine squeezed from the physical water of the brain. It's not a product the brain manufactures. It's a property that lights up when the whole system operates harmoniously together.
Exactly. And what's fascinating here is the moment you adopt this ontologically complete three-part model, the epistemic gap completely vanishes.
It just goes away.
It just disappears. It wasn't a mystery waiting to be solved by a better microscope. It was a symptom of ignoring a foundational pillar of human architecture. The bridge between the physical brain and the conscious mind didn't need to be built. Structurally, it was there all along.
Which completely flips the old model on its head. It means your joy, your nostalgia, your perception of the world, none of that is just an evolutionary afterthought or, like, a biological glitch.
No, not at all.
It is a structural, absolutely necessary part of your human architecture.
And if we look at the bigger picture, it raises a really profound question for the future.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. If this intrinsical domain of meaning is a structural requirement for consciousness, how might this change our approach to artificial intelligence?
Oh, man.
We are building AI with incredibly complex physical hardware and cognitive software. But without an integrated R3 domain, will a purely physical and cognitive AI ever actually experience anything? Or will it remain an empty signal processor?
That is a wild thought to leave on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. And to you listening, as you go about your day, pay attention to those rich, subjective moments. You aren't just a fleshy input-output machine. That missing piece of the puzzle isn't missing at all. It's the very thing allowing you to experience the puzzle in the first place.